everyone, and welcome to another episode here, The Virtual Investor. Mike and I are going to break down a recent deal we did here in, I believe it's Sylacauga, Alabama. And we minor repairs, and Mike will go into details on it, but it was a good example of one we had to verify, I think, with at least one or two realtors, if I remember, Mike, just to make sure, because it is a more rural area, and it turned out pretty good. I'll hand it off to you here, Mike, and I'll add to the stage. Here we go. All right.
Can you see here? All right. This is kind of an extended area of Birmingham, Alabama. So that's kind of where it is in Alabama. And property here today where we'll talk about, we acquired this through an online REO auction. I guess funding, Paul, one of our private lenders.
Private lender.
Deal. So we talked a lot. We recently did a series on private lending. Feel free to check out some previous videos on that topic. It's very important to, fund their operations, as there are plenty of deals out there, and using alternative money besides your own or like an asset-based lender or a bank is it's a great option to have a private lender in your toolbox.
Yeah, necessity in our business here.
So please check out those videos. Great series there. A lot of Q&A from people that we've gathered over the years addressing those questions. And then Paul mentioned earlier that it needs renovations, but we didn't do too many of them, and we'll get into that in a second. But figure let's start with what the property looks like first. So this is from the Zillow. It's already closed. So this is a deal that happened just recently. Property here. This is the exterior, nice kind of a rancher brick.
Good bones on it. It was solid. Didn't have too much bad look on the outside there. Clean.
Yeah.
Pool was the biggest mess, right?
Operational. And then you can kind of see here, nothing crazy, livable, and with some updates. I mean, this kitchen isn't,
not too old.
It's probably updated late 90s, early 2000s based on the cabinets, but it's white. And then, appliances were in newer condition. You get the tiles and that 12 by 12 box style, not brick. So that's probably late 90s, early 2000s layout there. The hardwood floor throughout the house, is in decent shape, stains throughout. So someone could, refinish it, make it kind of more of a uniform color. Walls aren't that bad. Your late 60s, early 70s, 3x3 baby blue bathroom tile here. But again, toilet, vanity, tub's been upgraded since, right? So it's one of those, it's a classic in our, I guess, ideal property updates. So at the end of the day, the house is livable. It's just, and this bathroom is actually recently renovated, calling it the last 5 years probably, given the materials.
New with the walk-in shower, it's not bad.
And then again, unfinished basement, so good condition though, right? No signs of any kind of mold, water damage, or anything like that. So the new owner could use it as storage or actually finish some of the space as well.
It's got egress, walk out. You see the door going.
So livable, addable square footage in the future there.
For sure.
So that's the lay of the land there, and that kind of what it looks like. And as Paul mentioned earlier, to kind of finish up this slide is, this got through our initial threshold on the auction as a potential deal, and then that's when reaching out to local agents. And after going through this process, we got a really solid agent in this marketplace, and we're looking at other local MLS off-market deals and through wholesalers in this marketplace as well now, given the good relationship we built with the agent on this auction property. And what do the numbers look like? On the left here, this is what we initially thought was going to happen. So maybe blow this up a little bit more. And we initially thought, let's just do a quick wholesale. And looking at our numbers and confirming what an as-is value would be if we bought and relisted as-is on the MLS from the local agent, and verifying our Zillow comps, we were thinking around 130. So I used the 129.9 number there. You're paying their 5% to the agent, your transfer tax in Alabama. There was no buyer's premium on this property. We assumed it's a wholesale, zero renovations in this example. At the time, 4-month hold. We've adjusted that to 5 months in this market. Stuff's starting to normalize a little bit and sit a little bit longer, which is normal. And ultimately, we came up with, what's the profit we would like and a return on investment. And we backed into that number, and the max bid we decided would be $92,000. Won the property at auction and decided to go a little bit higher. I think, is this one, Paul, where we maybe negotiated with the bank a little bit on price, or they kind of came back to us and asked if we were going to go up to this number? I can't remember.
We negotiated back and forth a little bit. We got to their baseline number, and then we confirmed with the agent that we're still safe with that number. And the agent said, yeah, we're good to go on that one. And she was obviously right.
Yep. And so we went up about almost 2,000 on our max bid after reconsideration. Again, we just didn't blindly go up. And we ultimately put in about $1,500 in rehab and just minor stuff. Paul, do you remember off the top of your head what some of that it was?
Most of it was for HVAC repair. We got the HVAC system running again. I think a condenser needed something replaced in it, and then minor electrical to get the box up to code and passed for electric turned on, and we were good to go with that. That's literally all it was, and cleaning. We had it cleaned up.
And again, those are the things you need to get a conventional loan and get a nice retail buyer in there.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about, other channels even talk about wholesaling, where you have to, as an investor, get something under contract and sell to an investor. Well, investors going to want to get things something cheap, so your margins are really tight. Whereas us, we're selling to a non-investor at the end of the day, so our margins can be greater because they're not looking to make a profit; they're looking for a place to live, and that's kind of part of our analysis here. Also, we accounted for private lender interest on the deal, holding costs, selling costs, and then net proceeds of the sale was about 1,052. And I think the selling cost is so high because there was like a 7,000 seller assist in this number.
Right.
So if you see here, like the agent cost was about we added about 6,000 on top of that. I believe their offer was like 159, and I think they netted down to 152, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, we had like a $6,000 or $7,000 seller assist, somewhere in that range.
Yep. So that's where that number is so high and what's reflected in there. Then when you do math, our net profit at the end of the day, after paying all holding costs and interest and everything else, about $38,000, which is a nice return.
Better though, right? When you look at those numbers, it's a big bonus. And one thing I wanted to point out too, on these quick ones that we do like this, for those people out there, you got to make sure it's conventional buyer or cash buyer, because FHA has 90-day anti-flipping where you can't get it under contract within 90 days of your purchase. Now, if you're doing a regular old rehab, it usually falls within those 90 days without any issue. But we're doing a quick one here. We're in and out in a couple of weeks. We got to go conventional on that. And to be honest, when you're doing conventional compared to FHA, you're generally going to be much smoother, better, and less issues anyway. So always prefer that. I know occasionally we might get a little bit more in FHA, but you're always going to take longer, and there's going to be more issues potentially come up with that. So just keep that in mind.
Conventional too, Paul, it's the buyer's less likely to wiggle out, right? They have higher down payment usually, right? 10 to 20% on average. So they have more skin in the game with the everything else going around. And
so true.
I feel like whenever we get a conventional, it minimizes the due diligence period's over, I'm out type of thing.
Absolutely. We look at that big time. Offer coming in at 160 FHA, but 155 conventional. We're probably going conventional. We'll ask for highest and best, and we'll see what they can do, but we're probably going conventional.
That's a great point and topic maybe for future conversation, but let's hit it here real quick. It's when you get multiple offers, don't just always take the highest. Right? Look at multiple factors. Speed of close. Can they close in 21 days? And I'm willing to take $5K less, or whatever the case may be. So kind of look at all those things on strength of the buyer, how long it will take, what type of loan is it, etc. It shouldn't just be the highest price always, because we've done that we've seen that in the past, where the highest price doesn't mean necessarily the most likely to guarantee the close.
Yes. Very, very true. You're looking at inspections. A lot of times people waive inspections. That really helps you out if you get multiple buyer situation. How much money they put down, earnest money deposit, that matters. And you can negotiate that too. But usually FHA is going to put minimal down, so keep that in mind. So it's easy for them to walk.
Read the contract, seeing what the actual offer exists, not just price. And I'll tell you a lot about the strength and the likelihood of the deal closing on the date you want.
Absolutely. So that's our deal review for this week here. I think upcoming we have...
we got pipeline that we could kind of, once the dust settles, we can kind of review them as well. So it's been we gobbled up a lot recently, and now they're going through the close process. So once the numbers are finalized, happy to share.
Yep, we'll share that, and then you can go look and you can see it in public records, so these deals are real. Alrighty, guys. Thank you again for joining us. We'll catch you in the next